Hello and welcome to WebPage Design's final project overview and what you're going to need to do for the rest of the semester in relation to the final project. There will still be weekly assignments in every chapter, including reading assignments and labs, but there will also be the upload of the portion of the website project that I have designed or um, spec'd out for you to complete this week. I will also start doing weekly live streams that will work through that particular part so that you can join. And if you have any questions about anything, you can ask me there. So the first part of what we're going to go over is our outline and requirements. Now, this is a hand-coded, which translates into not AI project, where you will be doing each of these pieces yourself manually and not sending it off to ChatGPT or Gemini and then copying, pasting it in at the final moment. Um, so each part of this assignment that you submit will be part of the final grade. So the final project grade is 100 or 200 points, and each piece of these submissions will be counted towards that, as well as a complete final project. So our project outline consists of a 3-page website with a consistent look and feel using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. A little bit of JavaScript. We haven't gotten there yet, and we don't even introduce it until we start those weeks in the course. You'll have a main project folder. This is what you will zip up and submit. It will contain all of your files, preferably in the way that I specify when we look at the next section on how to lay out your project. These things are not negotiable. Points will be taken off if everything is in just one folder, things are not linked properly, or the right number of items is not there. So this is important. You will have one main project folder, 3 HTML files in the main folder, at least 3. If you want to do more, you're welcome to do more. I find that some people who already know HTML really want to try and flesh out like a real website for a real purpose, and that's fine. You will have at least one JavaScript or one CSS file in the CSS folder and one JavaScript file in the JavaScript folder. It'll be a JS folder and a CSS folder. There will be an images folder, which will have at least 2 images, and those 2 images are the images that you'll use in your web page. You can have more. It's totally okay. Headers and footers must be the same on all 3 pages. Now, we're not going to get into file includes if you've done any other programming. We're just going to copy and paste it into each folder or each file, but designing it and having it set and then moving it to the other 2 pages or more, while it's not very difficult in that regard, uh, it's very helpful to have it be all the same. Um, you must use Bootstrap in the design, which we will cover in a couple of weeks. And that's when we'll add in Bootstrap. And that's when those online information sessions might be more interesting to some folks to figure out how to include it and how to work with it. And there will be one form on just one page. There are some options as far as sending the form to Zybooks that you could use. And there's some other JavaScript that I can provide if you would like to use that as far as form checking and emailing the form or submitting information or having pop-ups. But that form will have some sort of input validation, which will be covered in the forms chapter. So here are all of the goals and outcomes. This is just so that you understand why I'm asking you to do the things that I'm asking you to do. So obviously web design principles, figure out layout, color theory, typography, hierarchy of files, developing your own files by hand from scratch will give you some understanding of how HTML and CSS work together. Implementing JavaScript for interactivity will help in the future because our website runs on an awful lot of JavaScript. Like JavaScript is um, everywhere, used for every little dynamic thing that you see. CSS is used for a lot of dynamic movements and things like that, but JavaScript keeps track of all of these things and it helps you when you're browsing Amazon and it keeps track of your preferences. And when you go to different websites, it keeps track of that's how you see ads for things that you've looked for. All of that is connected, usually through JavaScript. Now, we won't get into that kind of depth on JavaScript because that is at least a year's worth of JavaScript intensive training, but we'll cover some of the basics and how to make things pop up and disappear and be interactive. Web accessibility with the April 2026 deadline. For web accessibility, it's important for you to understand how that functions and why that is important. And then we'll talk about our development tools and frameworks that are a little bit more modern than just the old-fashioned hand coding. We'll use Bootstrap. We can also import some JavaScript libraries. We'll use Flexbox and grid-based layouts. And those aren't required by you in your project, but through the assignments and the chapter readings, you'll see some of those. And then this also gives you a professional portfolio piece that you can use when starting out on your job search to have it in your back pocket if you ever want to show off, hey, this is what I've gotten done. There's different levels of people in the course, especially in an online course. One year I had some people from our financial aid office take this class so that they could be better at updating the website as we were moving to a new, uh, easier to use framework, CMS rather. And they came and took the class so that they would understand how to do a better job at their job. So there's many reasons why having this final project, which will teach you, well, which will let you demonstrate your practical skills that I have hopefully taught you through this course. So I've come up with like a weekly breakdown just to kind of keep you guys on task and also so that you know what's coming up as far as what is expected for your submissions. So this week we're going to talk about, we're going to go through the instructions. Obviously, you will choose a topic for your website. Now, it doesn't have to be solidified just yet, but um, we have a whole week ahead of us. So pick a topic for your website, and you can start to think about your simple layout for your 3 pages. You can sketch it on paper, header and footer, and then maybe where you want some images to be. And then on your computer that you're going to do your work on, you're going to create a main project folder. It should be named with the name of the course and your name, but that makes it difficult when you're trying to share or view it in the web page and that sort of thing. So it can start out with a different name and then change it based on the submission instructions, which you'll see in the final submission document. And then inside of that folder, so you'll have your main project folder, and then there'll be 3 subfolders, which is CSS, JS, and images. And then start thinking about your colors for your website and then write down those hex codes. There's some tools that I'm including that you can use for that, and I'll probably do a little live stream on it so you can see um, what that holds and what that entails and how to pick some colors. There's also some videos that I'll be including that talk about things in a very extensive way in a shorter amount of time than I would probably do it since they're focusing on a topic. These are good to look at and they have a lot of information. So, and then next week we're going to bring in some pictures, and so this is where you'll be starting, your picture um, sourcing, trying to find what you want. So you have like a whole week, maybe even 2 if you push it later, um, to figure out what topic you want and what your pictures you want. And then we'll start talking about layout. And then we'll line up our Bootstrap week with the week that we learn about Bootstrap. So I'll do a video and a live stream for that. And then your content. Now, I know sometimes it can be hard to figure out what to say. Now, if this is a topic that you love, which I'm hoping that you would not pick a topic that you don't like or don't know anything about, you should be able to um, get some of that content together and maybe you have tons of content and you're not sure what to do. Um, and if you would like to have um, AI rewrite some of that in a more concise manner or in a specific way. So, like if you want to do your website in the voice of a character of one of your favorite shows, there was um, one person who did like an entire encyclopedia about this video game with all the people and how they all interacted. And to explain it all would have been walls and walls of text. So she used AI to condense it down so that I could read it without having it be like a Wikipedia page, right? So this is the only time where you can use AI to curate your content in a way that makes it more readable. You should still plan to have 500 words at least per page. Um, and that's just because otherwise it looks really dinky and tiny on a page. So um, 500 words, so that's 1,500 words for 3 pages. And then we'll work on making the form together. And then there's like a week, uh, before the final is submitted, where so your whole final week, so you can check and make sure everything works and zip up everything and submit it. So I've also created a resources for your final project folder, and this is where I'll link this video and other videos to things, and I'll um, post any links to any saved live stream conversations. They should still remain in Twitch for a week, but afterwards, if you need to reference them, if for some reason you weren't able to attend and had no access to a computer, so, like in the hospital, out of the country, I'll have them available in case somebody does need to see them. But the point of this is to work on it every week so that you don't get behind. Anyway, these 2 videos talk about how to create and organize your website, and this is how to create a sitemap. A sitemap is very important to understand how your site goes together as far as hard links and soft links within the website. Here's some more about the nav in the header. There was some discussion whether the nav is in the header or the header contains the nav. You can read it and make your own decision. How to properly lay out a website, and sections and container visuals for extra information. And this is, so this is for the next week when we're talking about our actual like coding of the layout. This week we're going to try to get all of our information together and um, pencil sketch. You don't have to submit your actual sketch. And then it's the physical setting up of your website. So at the end of this week, there will be an assignment for you to let me know what the topic is of your website. So um, hopefully this will help everybody understand the project as we go, and nobody will run into any showstoppers on the way. Uh, there's usually a number of students mad coding at the end, and so I've decided to kind of bring it for the next 8 weeks so that everybody has the opportunity to go on a live chat or well, live stream and chat with me if they have specific questions, and also so everybody can see that information as we work forward in it, which is what I do in the face-to-face class. So if you have any questions, let me know. Um, but this next week starts advanced CSS, and then there's a whole bunch of this is grid layouts, which we mentioned in the project, and then there's our advanced CSS part 2 because it continues, and we go on every week. So uh, let me know if you have any specific questions, and then I can address those in the live stream so that if anybody else is having those questions. And then other than that, I hope you guys have a great second semester, and I hope you all had a great break. Thank you.